Come on, it's good to be here. First, giving honor to God, without whose blessings there would not be. Congratulations on your Emmy.
Thank
Come
you.
on, you're doing great work for our community, and I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here.
Well, I gotta say, this is something that elates me so much is being able to sit down with actors and actresses like yourself. This for me, as a young kid who was hitting theater, when I saw the prom, I love going into a show not knowing what the storyline is and
Exactly.
then being so inspired. I mean, I was welling up, Sinclair. Tell us a bit about your history as an actor and a performer on major stages.
Well, I was on Broadway. I've performed on all the major stages across the world, but somehow when I got the prom, it was just it spoke to me. It's the quintessential American story. You know what I mean? It's about a young woman who's fighting for her civil rights and they're being trampled upon, and she needs help to make sure that she can have her voice heard.
Yeah.
And through song and dance and love and high energy, she ends up changing her peers, changing the town, changing the state, and changing the world.
Yeah, this for me, I just went to myself, wow, what I feel like there was moments in history where we were not bold enough and courageous enough to tell these kinds of stories. And I am so happy that we're evolving. It is slow because there's still so much more work to do, but it was really inspiring for me to actually have this protagonist in this young character who really then resonates with everyone, right? It's like it's this age old story of we have to press for what's right. And it does mean so oftentimes changing the mindsets of those who are stuck in antiquated thinking. And so you're so right about it being an American story. Tell us a bit about what it's like to be on stage with all those phenomenal characters and actors who are playing amazing roles. But I got to say, the music, oh my gosh, it is top notch. The harmonies and everything. Oh my goodness. I was out there enjoying myself thoroughly.
You can feel the love that the cast itself has. It oozes out into the audience, and everyone notices that we have such love and camaraderie amongst each other. But when you hear the audience response just to some songs, and if they go oh, and they notice something just touches your heart, which helps a performer like myself give a little more. I'm like, what, you like that? Well, here's a little bit more for you, and here's a little bit more. So being here in Seattle, feeling the love, preparing for Gay Pride here, and then being in San Francisco for all of Gay Pride that month, we're ready to rock and roll and tell this story to everyone. And to feel the love from the audience every night and being cheered as you end your work night, it means something to you.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially with the pandemic.
Oh.
I mean, I was out of work for 2 years. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like I couldn't do anything. I had to wait tables and do construction work.
Wow.
I was like, I need money. This is not happening to me right now. And then to have this opportunity to tell this story and preach inclusivity across the country, especially during this time of Trump.
Yeah.
We need to get on the right foot, because all it takes for evil to prevail is for good to do nothing. And you can see that the writers really felt that.
Yes.
And they really told the story of the prom beautifully.
I agree. I mean, 1,000%. I think what I was so struck by was the love thy neighbor. Like the idea of like it's so easy to say it. It's another thing to live it, right? And I think that song and that piece for me was just, as the young people were turning around and understanding, like, wait a minute, I am contributing to hate. I'm contributing to, discrimination. And I got to do something different right now. And just the message of, these biblical passages that I think obviously have been passed down from generation to generation, but living it is something different. And our country definitely still has work to do in that regard. But I think it's so effortlessly clear that when you really lead with love, you really eliminate so many other things.
I'm a Christian, and I know that one thing the Bible taught is not, love all churchgoers.
Yeah.
Or just love all Black people. No, love everyone. That's what the red letter says. Love everyone. God didn't say just love gays. or loves just straight people. And that's the message the prom is preaching: inclusivity and love for all.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, your character definitely struck me well because you played Mr. Hawkins in this beautiful musical, and you were one of the first adults really to be like, wait a minute, something is not right here. Tell us a bit how that character resonates with you personally.
Well, I feel myself as since high school, I've been a bully killer. I hate bullies. I hate someone trampling on someone else's rights, someone that can't defend themselves and being pushed into a corner. I'll stand up for them. So for me to play Mr. Hawkins and seeing this young girl go through what she's going through, and a young girl in high school, and still they're being so ugly to her, and I can't stand it. So I called the state's attorney's office, and I'm trying to get as many people as I can to help me fight for her civil rights. And the writing in the show just really lends itself. It's such a well through storytelling, like your last guest, storytelling. And telling that story was very easy. It was very, at least for me.
Yeah. Well, this is really exciting. I'm so glad that, the prom is on a national tour. I agree with you. Now is the time. There's always a time to be preaching such a fine message of, inclusivity, of love, of connection, of community, and what that really looks like. Right. I also was really struck by the fact that, this when you think about people who uphold some of these messages and maybe unknowingly, right? The idea of them waking up, it just reminded me of what I experienced so much when we were doing a bunch of protest coverage in 2020 here in Seattle. But it was this global movement of how, hardcore people were struck by George Floyd's murder. And it's again, it's we now are 2 years past that, and we are like, okay, what reforms can we put in place? How do we create new policy and legislation that's going to be reflective of this new age thinking? How do we cement this thinking and make it more sustainable over time, so it's not just the moment of 2020? I think that that's something that we see here in Seattle, and when you talk about being here in Seattle, there's so much, I'm sure, that resonates with you. Tell us a bit about some of the highlights of what you've been experiencing with the audience coming through Seattle, and how you feel as a person who's now, you're breezing through, but we're happy that you're here.
It's good to be here. No, there's so much to do here. There's so much to see. Every day I'm doing something, eating at a nice restaurant, seeing the Space Needle. I'm just ready to take over the West Coast here, as we tour through the prom. And just spending my day, I'm giving y'all all my money. I'm shopping, I'm eating, I'm having fun. And then I get to go and tell a story like the prom every night. And I'm doing it all. I'm living my best life.
Well, we're so glad that you're
I'm
here.
making up for COVID.
There we go. There we go. I think many of us are agree with you on that. Trust me, I know, because I'm always like trying to shop local and buy black, and I'm doing all the things. But you're so right about, Seattle having so much to give, and I'm so glad that you're experiencing it.
Well, the theater itself, we all know, is an escape.
Mm.
And sometimes it's more than an escape. Sometimes it's your healing moment. You can have the fantasy and the glitz and the glamour, which the prom has, but also it touches your heart and helps you to heal, and that's what the prom is all about.
Yeah, I could actually feel that
Mhm.
from my own perspective, being in the audience, and really, as you said there too, people resonating with the story, right? And I love that the theater has the opportunity to do that, sometimes to bring messages to those who may not have seen that in their real lives, right? But they go to an amazing show like the prom that has such a strong message, and they walk away with a new understanding.
Right,
That for
right.
me is like
Helps you
really
heal.
where art, imitates life, but then it also inspires people to do something different.
And stand up for others. Especially, I love the fact that when we're doing the show, during intermission, some people who probably hearts are just too hard and just won't soften, but nobody leaves during intermission. They still sit for the second act, and I'm like, yes, we didn't lose a single person.
Yeah.
This is great.
That's I know that's rewarding.
It restores
for you.
my faith.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Well, I just got to tell you, Sinclair, I just am so appreciative for you to come on today to share with our audience a bit about your experience being up on that stage, telling such an iconic story, really an American story, as you said. It's important that we see it and we get it in multitude of ways, right? Theater, media, all of it. We have to be kind of attacking this holistically. And I think with shows like The Prom, it really does inspire me too. Because I'm like, you know what? We're on the right track.
Right. Inch by inch, we're getting better. We're not where we should be, but we're better than where we were.
There we go. There we go.
And you guys are doing such great work, Trae. I commend you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. You can look right there. Make sure people know how to come and see you on Fifth Avenue Theater stage for The Prom. I know you guys have some shows left. Make sure they know how to find y'all.
Hey, we're in Fifth Avenue Theater. Come and see The Prom. We have lots of tickets to be sold, especially for this month. It means a lot. Also in San Francisco, we're there for the whole Pride. Get your tickets at I forget where.
That's okay. No, they'll find it. They will find it. Well, Sinclair Mitchell, thank you so much for being here on The Day with Trae. I appreciate you.
Thank you.